Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Mazi Ezoke. This evening, I have a wonderful guest joining me from the United Kingdom. My guest this evening is no other person than Councillor Kate Anolue, a former double mayor of the borough of Enfield, the current Councillor of Borough of Enfield. Kate Anolue, as many of you may know her, served as a mayor of Enfield in the United Kingdom from 2012 to 2013. She also served as mayor of the same ward again from 2019 to 2020, making her the first person from the Black and ethnic minority to be double mayor. Kate Anolue worked as a midwife at the North Middlewest Middlesex Hospital, London, for 40 years. Her work in the community exposed her to the opportunity of working with vulnerable women and young people. She is an author of 2 books. Her first book, Kate Anolue, the autobiography, was written in the year 2019. And her second book, Time for Purpose, written in the year 2022. This book will be launched in London next week, Friday, a week from today. And stay tuned on this platform because Ginger Media will be there live. But before we get on, let me quickly invite her so that we have this conversation. Good evening once more, my sister. You're welcome to Ginger Media TV.
Hello, Nigerian Media, Mazes, okay. It's nice to see you and to hear your voice. I've always admired listening to your programs, and I think I'm very, very lucky, to be able to be on your show today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that kind words. Now, obviously, in my intro there, I talked about the books, the 2 books you've written. You've written a book about your autobiography, and which was done in 2019. And now your new book, Time for Purpose, is written this year. And that book will be launched officially by next week, Friday. Now, you know, is there anything you want to tell us about the launch? Let's not get into the book proper, but about the launch that is planned for next week.
Yes, the launch is going to be great. Initially, I was going to launch this book, my guests to come to the Civic Center, Enfield Council. But I had so many people, inquiring and want to attend. And the council is still very restrictive about with COVID, so only minimum amount of people. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take it to the people. So I'm going to be having my book launched, in the community, so as anybody can come. But obviously, when you come, you know what to do. I just want you to get this book. It's an amazing book. It's a book that has got everything in it. Thank you.
Okay. Now, reading your autobiography, now having the opportunity and the rare privilege to read the book before its publication in the preparation for this interview, Time for Purpose, written in the year 2022. Before we dive into that book, would you take us down the memory lane as contained in this book, the life before your sojourn in the UK? What was the life like? Because in your autobiography and in this book, you talked so much about, I put it this way, accidental leadership. That's at some point you talked about dabbling into leadership by accident. How does that happen? How did that happen?
I would say, and sometimes I'll keep thinking whether it's because I'm the first one, Ada. But at the same time, I look at other children who are Ada. They're not all that, kind of that instinct of leadership in them, and I believe that is something that I was born with, because within, even if I'm in a group of anything, any place, before you know it, I'm there, either, coordinating or trying to make things go. This is the way it should go. It comes in my mind and it comes in my body, and there is something. But that kind of leadership is not the one of a bossy one. It's the one that really want to help, really want to organize, want to make things work. Want to. It is. I always want to look into things. How do I do this? And it works. And I've got a very quick thinking person, and I think that also is what has helped me. And then having been born first, you know, is giving me an age as well. And I always help my mother. That's before the Civil War. I help my mother. My mother is a petty trader, in the market, and I go with her. And I always like to take charge. And something I remember, even before I was age 10, I was already coming, from school, drop everything. I'm there selling goods. I just want to do it myself. And funny enough, my mom must have assessed me and knowing fully well that I'm capable. She would just say, okay, when you finish, lock up, and there are other women, that are there. They always say, you know, she's so young and she can do this, she can do that. So I think, and she gave me the opportunity. She allowed me, to get on with it. She didn't ask me to do it, but I want to do it. And I think that has always prepared me. I've always wanted to do it. And I work with, funny enough, the women I work with are not even the young people like my age. I join the older women, trotting around. And the one thing is that they respect me. They respect me. They
Mm.
think, everybody saying, oh, I wish this my daughter. Because my mother will stay at home sometimes or go to meeting. I said, can I go to the market and sell your gari and egusi and the things like that? She said, go on. And I will go and I'll sell. And I could speak Hausa so fluently, so I was able to communicate. So I think, that one, prepared me. And I was like an only child, for, up to about, for a fairly long time before the others started coming. So I was the master of the house. I had the opportunity to be in charge. And of course, I'm my daddy's girl, so everybody rallied around me, especially my dad.
Were you the only female in the family, with the exception of your mom?
If I tell you this, you'll laugh. I wasn't the only female, but I tell you, I'm one of seven. My mom had, after a long, I was about age 7 or 8, nearly 7, 8, before my mom had, the series of the boys that came one after the other, and got to fourth born is a boy again. And I was told my mother had a baby. And I said, what did she have? They said a boy. And I said, oh dear, not again. And I refused, it's funny. I refused to go and visit her in the hospital because I said in Igbo, I said, informal corner, the same thing that she always had. That's what she had again. And I said, this woman, I said, you hated me. That's why you didn't want to have a sister for me. And I didn't understand what it is all about. That
Yeah.
it's not her fault, neither is my dad's fault in a way, but I dislike my mother. It's not even my dad, my mother. I said, because you don't like me, every time you have boys, and you had 1, 2, 3, 4 boys in a row. And then obviously at long last, after the fifth boy, at long last, she had a girl. And
Wow.
when she had this girl, she is very spoiled by me up till today. I used to take her even after the war. I used to, because she was born almost she was born during the war, I would say, even, and then I always take her, little toddler. I take her to Loreto Others because during the war we had to come back from the north and we lived, in the village. And I started carrying on with my schooling at Loreto Others until it was closed finally before as soon as the war went too bad.
Now, you talked about the war. Now, that is, when you talk about the war, I believe you're referring to the
The Civil War.
Nigerian Civil War that happened
Yes,
between 1967 and 1970.
that's right. Yes.
Now, as a young girl at that time, growing up within the era that war happened, what was your war experience and how did that shape you in becoming that resilient woman that you are today?
The war was tough. The war was tough, and I experienced it hard badly because I was in a teacher's training college, Akwanga, and when this happened, my dad had to come, because we live in Jos. My dad had to come, obviously bundle me, and off we went. When we got to the east, it was difficult to settle. Number one is that we had all our building in the north. We didn't have any building. My dad didn't have any building in the east. So it was six of us sleeping in one room. In fact, when I say six, that is myself and the children, well, with my parents, that's 5, 6, 7, so it was very, very hard, and then I being the eldest, I've always wanted to do things. I had to think to support my parents. So I was doing petty trading, and funny enough, I was used to it already. You see, this is how my experience before the war has helped me during the war. I sometimes I roast groundnut and sell that in front of in our town. It's called our food. That's the market. I sell it there. Or sometimes I would, myself and my cousins, we prepare soup. Ogbono soup is my best, and we carry this from midnight, around 12 midnight, trekking to Ufuma, where we go, and when we get there, we have our wood, get hot water, and make gari, and we're selling to the drivers that come to buy goods. So it was not easy, but for real enough, I found it fulfilling because my siblings didn't suffer from kwashiorkor at all, in as much as we were a large family, but they didn't suffer at all from kwashiorkor because I was helping my mother, and my dad had to go into the farm with some of my brothers, to the farm in the weekend. They come back, and when it's harvest time, we had a lot to eat. So it was hard, but I think, I had enough cousins. We all stayed together and we worked together, and we just, as far as I'm concerned, we're helping our parents. And we were very, very lucky. Nanka was very, very lucky that we didn't have to move. We didn't move. We actually had other refugees that were coming to us, and we harbored many of them in our compound.
Wow. Now, that's indeed a very interesting story to hear from your perspective. Now, if I come down to the book in question that you've written, and the book that will be launching next week, this book is segmented into 10 chapters. And in these chapters, you have them, as a form of inspiration. The chapters are, you've given them names like purpose, mindset, motivation, faith, drive, resilience, self-empowerment, service, success, and legacy. Reading through it without reading necessarily, exposing all the books. I will still encourage everyone to come out next week, get the book. I think it's going to be on Amazon because I can see
It is
that
it is on Amazon, and it is on Waterstone as well.
Oh, it's on Amazon already.
It would be
Okay.
there from the 22nd. It will be there from the 22nd.
Oh, okay. So now, reading through this book, and I'm just wanting to pinpoint one aspect of that book, which is on self-empowerment. At some point, when you moved from Nigeria to the United Kingdom, at some point you became widowed with 4 children. Now, that self-empowerment, that resilience, could you talk us through what kept you going, even in the midst of that challenge at that part of your life?
There is something that says in Igbo proverb, it says, Chukwadi ebunye mmadụ ife karịrị ya nọ. And it is believed that when you have a heavy luggage to carry, from somewhere, somehow, God has given you the energy and the strength and the confidence to carry that. And I believed that I haven't become a widow with 4 children, youngest being 18 months. It's a cross, but for somehow God has given me the energy, a belief in my faith that I can manage, I can do it. And it's for me to believe in myself, be determined, and make sure that those children that God has given me, that I help them to find their purpose in life.
Now, if I take that further, obviously, you talked about helping those children. I believe now they're all adults. That
Yes.
you're helping them to find their purpose in life, and I believe that's that challenge which you took that has been achieved. Am I correct?
I would say that it has been achieved, and that is because I never gave up. It's quite easy to give up with 4 children. You wonder, what are you going to do with 4 children? And you probably find yourself drawn away from the public because you want to concentrate. But I would think that I actually did more than what I did, before I became widow. I was able, because I kind of know what I want to do. Initially, obviously, I didn't want to be a nurse. But my dad, he just wanted me to be a nurse. But within me, I know that, I actually want to be a lawyer. But then I satisfied my dad, became a nurse and a midwife. But in myself, I still had something. But being a widow and having 4 children, it's not going to stop me. So when that little one became 8 years old, and then I applied at the university, that I would want to study law. But the thing is this: always, when you have something and you believe in yourself, don't let anybody discourage you. Because I was discouraged, really, because when I went for my interview, the lecturer said, "You've got 4 kids, you're working full-time as a midwife, you won't have time to study this. Do you know that law is one of the most difficult degree to study?" And I said, "But I want to do it." And she said to me, in fact, 3 of them, they said, "Listen, Mrs. Anolue, I think you go home and think about it. We'll call you back in about 2 weeks' time." And during that time, this was 1997. There is no, 1992 actually, because I got my law degree in 1997, because there is no iPhone, iPhone. So I was waiting for a call, then I got a letter. "Oh, come back, Mrs. Anolue. Let's hear your final thought." When I went back, "Do you still want to do it?" I say, "Yes, I want to do it." So it's very, very important. What I say to people is, if you know within yourself that you want to do something, don't let anybody, not your friend, not your children, not anybody, discourage you, because it's your willpower that will make you to succeed. And that willpower will make you to do the things you want to do and succeed in it, and even do more.
Is that the reason why, reading through the book, you chose the format that conveys to the reader as if you are sitting down there? Because I see when a chapter closes, you ask questions. What have you learned? Have you done this? Are you going to do this? And, in that format, what informed that choice of way of communicating with your readers?
Because what happened is this: when I wrote my autobiography, a lot of especially women, a lot of them read it. They said to me, "But Auntie Kate, how did you do it? Because I read it. It's fantastic. How did you do it?" And this is where is the what I thought, okay, my second book, I'm going to explain not only how I did it, but how you yourself can do it. Because I believe that everybody can do something. And that is why whenever I speak, I always say, whatever you are thinking, always believe that you can. Because I myself, I believe that I can. Even before Obama said, yes, I can. And it's because of the way Obama said, yes, he can. And that encouraged him and get on with it. And then he succeeded and become the president of America. If he had listened to people because he's from ethnic minority, I listen to people and he probably just say, oh yeah, I suppose I can't do it. No, he knows he can do it. He knows there is something pushing him, because I believe that we all got our own unique thing that God has given to us. Everybody's got it, and you can always do it.
Okay, chapter 4 of your book talks about faith. What role did faith play in your life in helping you get into where you are today?
Faith is amazing. It didn't matter which church you go to. That is faith. Faith is an amazing, because when my husband passed on, I felt that the world has collapsed on me. I felt that God didn't love me. That's why it's taking someone who's going to share the burden of 4 children with me. I felt that there's nothing more to do. I gave up, or I nearly gave up, I would say. But is that faith? When I went to the church and I sat down, I said to God, why me? What have I done? Okay, you've given me these children. You've got to give me the energy. You've got to give me the faith. You've got to give me the thinking faculty. How do I think? What do I think? How do I do it? Because I've seen a lot of, women and men who are single parent, and they had difficulty. It's not only difficulty about feeding them, it's difficulty about the child as they grow, they become, especially when they are in the adolescent years. It's very difficult. And I said, why me? 4, 2 boys, 2 girls. I said, you've got to be the one. And that is that faith that I believe. I believe that God is with me, that it wasn't a punishment. It was a trial. God was trying my faith. I don't have to see God to believe there is God. And that has helped. And I've immersed myself into the church. And I work, within the church. I do a lot of service in the church up till today. This is because it is where I go quietly and pray to that invisible Father Almighty, who is around us all the time. But I go there quietly. You can still pray in the house, but sometimes you want to visit, it's like on Zoom. These days we do Zoom. After we finish Zoom, you still want to visit your friend and see your friend. So I'm in my house. That's fine, I can pray. But let me go to God's house. That's when I go to church. I go to God's house and kneel there and say, thank you for giving me this. Thank you for doing this for me. And thank you for encouraging me and helping me. And funny enough, the children, God had and walked in their heads. And, I managed 4 of them, and they're all graduates. And everybody, at least they made me a grandmother as well. So, and I believe that. And I believe that God was hearing me. And also, it didn't stop me looking after myself. It's very, very important. Because one thing that I found out is that when people are faced with difficulty, they totally forget themselves as well. And that in the book, I try to explain how I've done it. Because people say to me sometimes, oh, Auntie Kate, because you look so young. I said, it's the way I feel within myself. When you feel that you're 100, you're 100. You feel you're 10, you're 10. As far as I'm concerned, Auntie Kate is 18 today. And when I wake up, I do the things at 18 years old too. That is, dance, look at myself in the mirror, love myself, and say, God, thank you for today. I think it's so important.
Yeah. So before we round up on this interview, I must not forget to take another chapter in that book, and that is chapter 9, that is titled Success. Obviously, you've looked at your life from the when you were young, as a young girl from Nanka. Today, Nanka in Aguata local government cannot mention names of their successful um, daughters without mentioning you. Recently, the Nanka community gave you the Ada Jalumba Tulugo Nata as a chieftaincy title. And success, in so many ways, means so many things. Now, as part of this book that you've written, what does success mean to you?
I think sometimes people think that success is when they've got a lot of money. Money is not everything. For me, money is secondary. For me, success is having been able to bring up these 4 children. They are independent. I sleep. I sleep. There are people who go to sleep and they can't sleep. Well, as soon as I put my head on the pillow, I fall asleep. That means my mind is settled. I have no worries. I have nothing bothering me. And those are because the children are independent. They're looking after themselves. And one thing I said to my kids, we looked after our parents, but I said to them, my happiness would be look after yourselves. Don't worry about your mother, because I think up to now I can still look after myself. And that's what I call success, being able to relax and sleep well, being able to go out with my friends, being able to go dancing, relaxing. I love swimming, do those things. That's what I came out from this afternoon. I've been swimming, I've just come back. Those things for me are success, because I'm able to do the things, the little things. They don't have to be big things. But what happened is, unfortunately, people think that money is everything. As far as I'm concerned, money is not everything. As long as I'm healthy, I pray to God. For me, if I have my health, that's success. Because if you're not healthy, you won't be able, those that got the money, you won't be able to enjoy that money. And if you're not healthy, you want to travel, you won't be able to travel. So for me, success is also good health. And I thank God that He's giving me that good health. Because as I am now, at age nearly 74, I should be proud of myself. Yes, I'm 73, and I don't forget to add March, April, May, June, July, August. Yes, 73 and 5 months and 2 weeks. So, and I love that, because I'm satisfied with myself. And I just pray that others will be satisfied with themselves without burden that they don't have enough huge money. You just have enough to look after yourself. Health is number one. Health. If you're healthy, everything will come, because you'll be happy, and you have a good lot of friends. I've got a good circle of friends, and we make ourselves laugh. And Auntie Kate still go to parties, and Auntie Kate like to dance, and I dance away, and I don't stop. And because I'm happy, I'm not worried. I just pray for my children and pray for the whole world and pray for Nigeria, because we just want peace. We just want the future, because the future of the young ones is really peace. If we have peace and security, then they will be happy. Things will go well for them, because those things are so important. And I pray that they will have it and it will come.
Okay, I will be closing with and aligning myself with your book and its last chapter, which is legacy. The last chapter, which is chapter 10, talked about legacy. Now, what legacy do you want your book to imprint in the minds of those that will be reading it, and those that will be watching us, and those that will read thereafter?
What I want for them to have in their mind is humility. No matter what you do, no matter your success, no matter how big you feel or you are, if you don't have humility, you're nowhere, because people will not be able to approach you to learn the things that made you who you are. But if you relax yourself and see everybody as equal, and that is so important. As far as I'm concerned, I tell my friends that I deal with, I said, this is why I say, call me Auntie Kate. Don't call me chief, don't call me doctor, don't call me Rajalumba and so forth. Call me Auntie Kate, because that brings us at the same level, and it makes it easy to be approachable. And that is what I want to be called, as Auntie Kate. And that's why everybody knows me. Even we are at work, they do know me as Auntie Kate, that's in the council there, because that's what, it makes it human, rather than think, you don't get anything with purposity. No, you drive people away, and people don't learn what the things, because little things matter. It matters so much, so I just like to be Remember that as Auntie Kate, they want open hand, who is ready to help and advise. Help and advise. So important.
Thank you very much. That is a very fine place to anchor our conversation this evening. It's been my pleasure speaking to you, Councillor Kate Anolue, former double mayor of the borough of Enfield, the current councillor of borough of Enfield as well. And obviously, like I said at the beginning, you served and you are the only Black and ethnic minority person that have served as double mayor in the borough of Kent, England, in
Okay.
the United Kingdom. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Media. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for your comments. Auntie Kate is there. The book is in Waterstone, Amazon. And if you can, come next week, Friday. If you can't, we have got an online on the 22nd as well. I should put that on my Facebook. You can register on Eventbrite. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for those of you who are not able to fly into United Kingdom and those watching from Nigeria and across the globe, this Friday from next Friday, 5 p.m., that event will be streamed live on this platform. So if you're not able to come, stay and have a date with Njenje Media TV. We will be bringing you that live and direct here. Now, you watching us, if you haven't subscribed to our platform, by all means do that. As you can see, we have our big sister, Auntie Kate Anolue, here with us. And I believe she's asking you as well to subscribe. And let's move the ministry to the permanent side. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very
so much,
much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.